All right. Peace, power, and love as always, and greeting. Um, Still at work in this truck waiting to get loaded, so I figured I would jump on here and say a little bit what's on my mind. It's another episode of The Big Picture. Uh, want to thank all of my subscribers, all of those who have been following the channel, and I also want to give a shout out to Patrick Wilson and activatemedia.org, where you'll get the replays on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Last week I talked about white madness, and I want to follow up on that. Uh, White madness, no remorse. And I say that because of a few situations that have happened over the last few days. And it seems to me that, like I stated last week, white madness and not anger. White madness, insanity. And no remorse is part of their insanity. Not being able to take accountability for what you do. And, you know, this is why I say I have no forgiveness for cops who kill, racists who kill, and then they'll apologize half-heartedly. And then there's always the acceptance and the forgiveness by the victim. And not many of these killer cops and killer racists have atoned, have even apologized. I can think back over these last few years, and the cops that were convicted, there was no remorse. There was no apologies. There was no I'm sorries. Because they don't feel as if they owe us anything except what we get and what they give. And, perfect examples of these types of behaviors within the police force are overloading the airways right now. There's a cop that shot the 11-year-old boy. No remorse. No I'm sorry's, and he still got his job. They didn't convict him, and I think he should have been convicted as well. No difference, in my opinion. And then we have the case with Amber Geiger, walking in Botham John's apartment, shooting him, gunning him down. No remorse, no apologies, no I'm sorries, and already, has filed for an appeal which was denied. Derek Chauvin, another coward killer cop, and no remorse, no I'm sorries, no atonement at all for his actions, and he's already filing for an appeal. This is discouraging because even the Department of Justice won't step in to make things right. And now you have the case that I talked about last week with Miss Hall being gunned down by what I call a white supremacist, plain and simple. Had she been any other color, I don't think that she would have been taken away. Her life would have been taken away. And he's pleading not guilty. No remorse. No atonement. And he's pleading not guilty. And he's come up. I know that, I hope that some of y'all have taken the time to kind of read over the story. He's saying that someone called him, threatening to harm him and his family if they didn't give him $12,000. And, that whole story really just doesn't make sense to me, because he said that the people who called him were saying his nephew or his son was in jail or whatever, and they needed $12,000. But doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Like a lot of things that these people choose to do. And another case, and this one really bothers me. I'm gonna probably be on this one a moment. If we can all think back and recall the Ahmaud Arbery case, the Ahmaud Arbery murder. And this is what really angers me, enrages me, the audacity that some of these people have. Now, I ran across this on Indisputable, but then I started Googling to read a little more about what was really going on. And for those of you who don't remember, Ahmaud Arbery was gunned down by the McMichaels, father and son duo, and a neighbor. The neighbor didn't shoot, but the neighbor was involved in the pursuit, the hunt. Now we have, and this is why I say white madness, white ignorance, white insanity, no remorse, and still trying to vilify the victim. His wife started a GoFundMe to raise money for an appeal trial for the murderous McMichaels, father and son duo. And what's bothersome about that is, and I've said this several times, nobody cares about what happens to us. Nobody cares when we're hunted down and murdered. And it's evident by her actions. And how is it that there are people in this country who would donate $40,000 to some murderers? Period. Murderers. And the thing about it is, they're trying to appeal the hate crime charges. And even if they are successful, they're still going to spend life in prison. Which, I'm not even going to lie, I'm elated about knowing that they don't have an opportunity or a chance to come back out into society and, you know, possibly commit other acts. $40,000. And I'm sure that that amount has grown. This was Monday when the amount was $40,000. And this is for an appeal of two murderers who hunted a young man down and took his life, took him away from his family. And I was, you know, I ran across a video from his mother, or it may have been his aunt, but one of the two. But I really have a lot of empathy for his relatives, and was stated by, I think it might have been his aunt, uh, that that's just reopening wounds. Even the thought of an appeal for these murderers makes me sick to my stomach. You know, how is it that they can do the most and can always have support from people in this country? White rage, no remorse. They don't feel sorry for anything that they do. And you can see, I actually went back and watched the video. Uh, it was on Indisputable. I didn't want to see it, but I watched it again. I hadn't watched it since the incident happened, and it's really sad how they did that young man. And then after the fact, we've all heard that the rhetoric that was spewed by the McMichaels, the murderous McMichaels. And see, if you all don't recall, just think back to when this case first happened and the way they were trying to cover it up, the way they were trying to make it seem as if what the murderous McMichaels did was right, was okay. And he was ex-law enforcement, so he knew some people. And they were actively trying to cover up what they did, just like in so many other cases. No remorse. I don't understand how we have a so-called government that can allow the mistreatment, murder, and terrorism of a race and not step in and do anything. And in the same breath, you have people right now who are standing strong and tall about what's happening to Palestinians. Now, don't get me wrong. What's happening to Palestinians is not right. But what has happened to my people for over 400 years ain't right either. But you don't have, where is the outrage and the uproar and the same concern when adverse things happen to us? Nobody says anything. Everybody, get over it. That's the big thing, that society tells us to do is, that was the past, get over it. Well, it's not the past. It's still happening to this very day. And most white supremacists, most racists don't have any remorse. They don't have any apologies because they feel justified in what they've done. And we live in a society as well as a country that was built on racism, white supremacy. And the judicial system has never been correct. All of the cases in the 60s, 50s, and prior to, where white women tears would cause black men's fears. White women's tears would cause lynchings. Yet there's no remorse, no apologies, no accountability, no atonement. Just get over it. That's the past. But we want to remember the Alamo, remember 9/11, remember the Holocaust, but forget slavery. No remorse. And to show you how much empathy they have, remorse they have for what they done, they don't. Because right now there is a powerful push by white America to change and rewrite history, to soften the blow of slavery. See, these people have no heart, no soul, no feelings, and no remorse. There are so many cases that could be spoken about. Tamir Rice, the coward cop that took that young man's life, actually had applied for a job and had gotten the job until people started making an uproar about it. And the police department that hired him again, that rehired him or that hired him, gave him another opportunity. They fired him after the uproar from concerned people. And this is, America. So, I mean, my question to you is, what do we do next? Where do we go from here? And we all know, let me throw this in, that we need each other out here. See, certain people are not going to ever admit that they were wrong. There are certain people who will go above and beyond to keep their facade going. There are so many instances that have happened in the past and also here in present that, just like you take the case of Emmett Till and this woman that admitted that she lied. First of all, she admitted she lied. Second of all, there was a warrant found for her that was never served. This is America. These people have no remorse, no soul, and they will not apologize because they never feel as if they are at fault. Even when they are at fault, they are, in their minds, right. The insanity of white madness is still alive and well in America. Racism is the virus the only virus that I'm concerned about. And when are they going to find a remedy or a cure for that? So many instances where people have been wrongly accused, unjustly taken, having their lives taken, and because we say Black Lives Matter, now all lives matter. And if all lives matter, that includes Black lives as well. Some things I don't feel need to be said. I ain't never been a Black Lives Matter follower or supporter. I'm black. I know I matter. Then, even with that particular organization, using Black death for profit, no better than what white America does to us. And this is why I always say do some researching and investigating behind these groups and organizations that pop up before you just start co-signing with them. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. And the Black Lives Matter movement took full advantage of what was happening at that particular time and moment. And we all know what they've done with the money that they accumulated. They didn't help any of the names that they were calling. They were so hard and so, not hard, but they were so hot on calling Tamir Rice's name, George Floyd's, and all the others. But what have they done for those families of those names that they have used over and over and over again? No better than what white madness does to us. And our own people will take it. Your own people will take advantage of you if they think it's an opportunity for them to come up. This movement to me means more than money. This movement to me is about our existence, our ability to continue to exist. And we have got to prepare ourselves for what's coming down the pipe. Things are not going to get any better until we make them better. So I'm saying that to say you can pray, 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 but what are you doing to bring about the change that you're praying for? Prayer without works is deceased. And if you're praying for change, you got to start moving for change. And moving like you want change. I'm tired of our position. I'm tired of us always being the ass end of everything. And like I say, you have these white radicals out here who are being allowed to do really whatever they want to do. This system is not got our back. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, I'm sorry, but that's for you. But I'm not sorry. All of that is for you. You all have effectively continued what Trump started, in my book, and somehow, in some ways, intensified You all are not for black people either. And I'll be glad when we get that through our heads. Democrat, Republican, two wings on the same bird. Democrats don't do nothing for us. Republicans don't do nothing for us. But some of y'all right now can't wait for November so you can run out and get that little white ass sticker. And all I'm saying is, why do we continue to vote when it hasn't changed anything? And I get tired of people talking about our ancestors died so we could vote. No, our ancestors died so we could exist. Our ancestors died because they wanted freedom. See, when we get that twisted, oh, they died so we could vote. They died for a lot of things. But that vote was not the main factor. Freedom was, equality was. And those are two things. I'm going to add justice also. And those are three things that we still lack to receive. And this is why I say these things that we want, we're going to have to start providing them for ourselves, because this system is not for us. It wasn't made for us. It wasn't created for us. It's not for us. This system was created when we were considered property. 3/5 of a man, less than, still being lynched, and still being lynched. Where is the remorse? Where is the compassion? White madness. No remorse, no atonements, and they never will. And by the time that they decide to, it's going to be too late for I'm sorry's. And that's why I don't have any forgivenesses. I don't have any forgiveness for anyone who can take a life and then file an appeal. You know, this is just like the lady Ajika Owens, who, defending her children, was shot by white supremacists through the door. And they've only charged her with manslaughter. No remorse. And no shame. And that's a shame. That's all I got. I want y'all to think about this, y'all. Think about what we can do to better our condition. Think about the things that we need. Think about how you can help your brother. Think about how you can help your sister. Think about how we can start helping each other. Because if we don't start helping each other, brothers and sisters, we're not going to be here much longer. We all we got. We all we need. And I'm going to get off of here. You know, you liking the content, keep sharing, keep liking. Y'all, we really, we got to get it together. We got to uplift one another. Like I always say in closing, let's plan, let's organize, let's unify, y'all. Because we all have a key right here and right here. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace, power, and love.